If you are a money enthusiast, want to make your way through financial freedom, or are looking for ways to maintain your wealth and finances, get in here! In today's episode on Brainfield, we will take you through 18 lessons Morgan Housel's The Psychology of Money taught us. If you haven't read this book since it came out in September 2020, with all the seemingly right hype surrounding it, then you are probably not among the percentage of the world that desires financial knowledge. However, you can still redeem yourself. This video summarizes all the talks about money and how its psychology affects you. It's as good a time as any to subscribe to the channel and turn on post notifications to get videos as educative and fun as this. Oh, you don't think financial breakthroughs and understanding the psychology of money are fun? Didn't think so. 18 lessons from the 18 chapters Morgan Housel's The Psychology of Money offers. Number 1. No one's crazy. Your personal experiences with money make up maybe 0.000000001% of what's happened in the world, but maybe 80% of how you think the world works. Everyone has their personal experiences with money, and really, it is a tiny percentage of what's happened in the world. However, it makes up for how we see the world. The lesson is that we can integrate their methods into our personal world instead of taking financial advice verbatim from people in different positions and worlds. Number 2. Luck and risk. Luck and risk are the reality that every outcome in life is guided by forces other than individual effort. They are so similar that you can't believe in one without equally respecting the other. They both happen because the world is too complex to allow 100% of your actions to dictate 100% of your outcomes. There's only a thin line between being inspiringly bold and foolishly reckless. If you do not have enough hindsight, you won't see it. Number 3. Never enough. Life isn't any fun without a sense of enough. Happiness, as it's said, just results minus expectations. It comes to a point where you have to realize that enough is enough. If you continually have that insatiable appetite for more, you might get pushed to the end of regret. The real issue here is the need for comparison. You have to realize that you have enough, even though those around you have more. Number 4. Confounding compounding. If something compounds, if a little growth serves as the fuel for future growth, a small starting base can lead to results so extraordinary they seem to defy logic. It can be so logic-defying that you underestimate what's possible where growth comes from and what it can lead to. Time is critical here. If you want to do better as an investor, you must increase your time horizon. It is the most powerful force in investing. Good investing involves earning good returns that you can stick with and can be repeated over a long period. Number 5. Getting wealthy versus staying wealthy. There are a million ways to get wealthy, but there's only one way to stay wealthy: some combination of frugality and paranoia. Risk is a vital part of getting money and making wealth, but the minute wealth is made, humility becomes the order of the day. You must constantly fear that what you have can be taken away just as quickly. It takes humility for you to know that a percentage of how your wealth was made is by luck, and luck might not always be relied on to repeat itself. Number 6. Tails, you win. A lot of things in business and investing work this way. Long tails, the farthest ends of the distribution of outcomes, have tremendous influence in finance, where a small number of events can account for the majority of outcomes. If there is something we underestimate, it is how normal it is for a lot of things to fail, and this makes us overreact when they do. Anything huge, profitable, famous, or influential results from a tail event, an outlying 1 in thousands or millions event. Number 7. Freedom. The ability to do what you want, when you want, with who you want, for as long as you want, is priceless. It is the highest dividend money pays. The highest form of wealth is when you can do whatever you want. What defines happiness, no matter how different we all are in the world, is that people want to control their lives. Aligning money towards a life that lets you do what you want, when you want, with who you want, where you want, for as long as you want, has incredible return. Number 8. Man in the car paradox. No one is impressed with your possessions as much as you are. The paradox here is that people often signal to them that they should be liked and admired when they desire wealth. In reality, though, these people bypass admiring you because they use your wealth as a benchmark for their desire to be liked and respected. The lesson here is that if it is respect you seek, looking for it with wealth and buying fancy things may bring less than you imagine. Humility, kindness, and empathy will bring you more respect than horsepower ever will. Number 9. Wealth is what you don't see. Spending money to show people how much money you have is the fastest way to have less money. We always judge wealth by the information we have in front of us. We rely on people's cars, homes, and Instagram photos to know how wealthy they are. But really, wealth is the part of people's lives that is not seen. It is the nice car one can afford but chooses not to purchase. Wealth is financial assets that are yet to be converted into seeable stuff. Number 10. Save money. Building wealth has little to do with your income or investment returns and lots to do with your savings rate. Wealth is the accumulated leftovers after you spend what you take in. Savings can be created by spending less. And the way to spend less is to care less about what others think of you. You don't need a specific reason to save. Everyone should be found saving just for saving's sake. It ought not to be directed to anything in particular. Number 11. Reasonable is greater than rational. Do not aim to be coldly rational when making financial decisions. Aim to just be pretty reasonable. Reasonable is more realistic, and you have a better chance of sticking with it for the long run, which is what matters most when managing money. What's often overlooked in finance is that something can be technically true but contextually nonsense. Be a reasonable investor. You won't always have to be rational when making financial decisions. Being a reasonable investor beats being a rational investor. Investing has a social component that is often ignored when viewed through a strict financial lens. Number 12. Surprise! The correct lesson to learn from surprises is that the world is surprising. Not that we should use past surprises as a guide to future boundaries, that we should use past surprise as an admission that we have no idea what might happen next. A trap many investors fall into is what I call historians as prophets fallacy, an over-reliance on past data as a signal to future conditions in a field where innovation and change are the lifeblood of progress. Unprecedented events are the things that will affect the most, and history always gives us little to no guide about them. Number 13. Room for error. Margin of safety, you can also call it room for error or redundancy, is the only effective way to safely navigate a world that is governed by odds, not certainties. And almost everything related to money exists in that kind of world. Always leave room for error. The most important part of your plan is planning on your plan not going according to plan. You can mostly never always be right. It is how the world works. It isn't that kind to anyone. Number 14. You'll change. Long-term planning is harder than it seems because people's goals and desires change over time. The end of history illusion is what psychologists call the tendency for people to be keenly aware of how much they've changed in the past, but to underestimate how much their personalities, desires, and goals are likely to change in the future. We must always come to accept the reality of changing our minds in the future. Number 15. Nothing's free. Everything has a price, but not all prices appear on labels. Like everything else that is worthwhile, successful investing comes at a price, and its currency is volatility, fear, doubt, uncertainty, and regret. And they are all easy to overlook until you deal with them in real time. Number 16. You and me. Beware taking financial cues from people playing a different game than you are. It's hard to grasp that other investors have different goals than we do because an anchor of psychology is not realizing that rational people can see the world through a different lens than your own. What to note here is that you must understand your own time horizon and never be swayed by the actions and behaviors of people playing a different game than you are. You are not everyone. Number 17. The seduction of pessimism. Optimism sounds like a sales pitch. Pessimism sounds like someone trying to help you. It is easier to create a narrative around pessimism because the story pieces tend to be fresher and more recent. While optimism narratives require looking at a long stretch of history and developments, which people tend to forget and take more effort to piece together. Number 18, when you'll believe anything. Stories are, by far, the most powerful force in the economy. They are the fuel that can let the tangible parts of the economy work, or the brake that holds our capabilities back. Wanting to believe that we are in control is an emotional itch that needs to be scratched, rather than an analytical problem to be calculated and solved. The illusion of control is more persuasive than the reality of uncertainty. So we cling to stories about outcomes being in our control. There you have it, viewers, 18 lessons from The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. His practical approach to dealing with how having money affects our psychology might be the best reason yet why the book is a bestseller. What did you learn from these lessons? Have you read the book? What lessons did the book give you? Let's know all this and more in the comment section. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Till next time.